Okay. This is going to be an incredibly short stream because I want to kind of test something here. And also because I figured out what my problem is right now. The thing that that I have an issue with Destiny 2 in its essence. And that simply is that there's not enough. There's just not enough here for us to enjoy and for us to do as far as like the content available to us. I know it's kind of like a hot topic debate in the Destiny community right now to essentially kind of just mauled at the. Oh shoot! No, it's control shift this way. Nope, wrong one. There we go. Control shift up. Sorry, still getting used to my hotkeys, but so essentially what the problem is that I have with Destiny right now with Destiny 2 is essentially it's the same problems I had with Halo Infinite at launch. And what I mean by that is that the content that's here, it's not that there's no content, it's just that there's not enough content to uh, essentially put in a reason to play outside of just arbitrary number grind. And the thing that's annoying about the arbitrary number grind, if you're a player like me, is because of this number right here, this 383, I am barred from essentially doing what my skill in this game allows for, because this number needs to be the same level as the number for some of the end game content that I'm used to doing with my friends, as far as like the conquests, like the you know, the conquest grandmasters, stuff like that. Like in Destiny 2 Final Shape, we were able to kind of do these things as long as the mission was available for us weekly to do. And then also if we were essentially just caught up from last season. And they don't do that anymore. And it's mildly infuriating because a lot of this stuff here is essentially things that are pretty easy to do, in the sense of like, of course I know how to play this game. I've played this game since, beta day one. But the problem is that they've soft sunset the majority of the game with no good way to bring or make it feel like it's content that's being brought back is worth playing, because, well, it's just not. An example of that would be, because arbitrary power grind is arbitrary, like I showed earlier, trying to get any of these conquests done. In order to touch any of these ones, which I have the skill to do, like, I could do this, a Grandmaster Conquest on that. I mean, I can't do it because, well, I'm not at the power level for it, but, like, the modifiers are... Ah, shoot, my AC kicked on. 1 second here. I'm gonna... So the problem, now that the AC's off, is this system right here. Like, all these modifiers, Avant-Garde, Glass Cannon, Galvanized, Champion mods, all these things right here, like, yeah, I can't do it because my base power is too low below the power cap, even though it already, like, limits, wrong one. This all already, like, it already limits what my power cap is. Like, I'm gonna be limited to 400 already for doing this. So even if I grind to a higher power level, like I go to, I need to be. Sorry, I moved my desk around earlier today, and I guess I knocked one of my keyboard pegs out from underneath it, so my keyboard was wobbling. So like it already limits my power for this to 400. So and when I'm with friends, it already brings me up to whatever level my friends are. But it's asking me to still get to this power level as if I haven't been doing this kind of content already this entire time to get to the level I'm at. So like this number right here, I've spent all this time grinding the same kind of content over and over again to try to get to the level to do those conquests, only for it to still want me to gain another 20 levels before touching this. And it takes the amount of time it takes for me to do this, to get to this power level, to then get to this power level, has been almost incrementally the same across all of these things. So there's a time gate there that's limited to how much I can play to grind to get to that power, right? And then I have to go all the way to this. And I'm not even close to even beginning to understand properly how the prime power grind works. I just know that is Destiny 2 not... Did it change the audio channel on my desktop? Because there's like no audio coming through here. Is it? Did it just... Oh my word, I think it did. Yeah, it did drop that low too, didn't it? Sorry, as I'm also going through this stuff, I'm noticing that there are different sound issues that are... Oh, there it is. Okay, we're back. It's showing audio now. I think it is back. So, the problem that I have is that the grinding for each of those things takes, if not the same time, almost longer time to get to those levels, to then also just have it where it's like, oh, by the way, you have to do that all these different times to get there. And there's no things that prevent me from getting the same power level drops in each of these slots for each of my pieces of gear. For example, there was, like all last week, I needed boots to drop at, like, I think they were like at 374. I had drops in every other slot for the entire time without getting a single boot drop. And part of the reason why was because there was no daily focused activity in the portal that dropped boots. So like you'll see how it'll have like a daily focus thing here. So like, oh, you do this is a chance drop. So it like locks in a specific slot of gear that you're gonna get. And then you also have it where you'll have a bonus drop, and sometimes you'll have it where it has both. So like right now I don't have one, but like as you can see in the playlist, it has Drang as a drop, which isn't a new gun, by the way. It's a reissued gun that they've reissued 3 different times. Once as its original self in vanilla, then a craftable version during season of the Haunted, and then they brought it back after that as just a vanilla weapon that you could pick up from Banshee, and then to bring back now as one of the new tiered weapons. And it's kind of because, I know it's a tangent, but it's because they revamped both Sturm and Mida. So now Sturm and Mida have both a primary ammo weapon to go with them, and then a special ammo weapon to go with them. So it's kind of cool that they did that. I wish they would lean more into that, but they won't. Like, they're not going to give us a Mida grenade launcher that pairs with Mida multi-tool. It would be cool if they did, but they won't. And same with Sturm. It'd be cool if we had a heavy, like a rocket launcher that paired with Sturm for that together for everything, because of how the exotic perk works. But in doing the power level grind, right? So if there's none of these things that have the armor drop that I need, I'm essentially stuck at RNG Mercy to get the get the thing I need. So if all these activities, like as you can see, so far we've had robes and one energy weapon. We had 2 energy weapons, a primary weapon, boots. So we've had robes, boots, class item, helmet, and then gloves. So we are missing a heavy weapon drop for today. There shouldn't ever be a moment where the drops a bit available for a given day aren't able to cover every slot in my loadout. Like as you've seen, there was no power weapon guaranteed drop out of everything. And my power weapon, it's not my lowest. My lowest right now is my energy slot. So for example, today, in order to get my energy slot weapon, I would just basically need to do wrong one. I would basically just need to go and do either this, the fire ops playlist quick play master, to get a Mida mini tool, which is an energy slot weapon. I have a chance to get that, and on top of a chance of getting that as one of my drops, or like the drop that's my powerful, I have a chance to also get 3 bonus drops accordingly, which don't drop. They drop at power versus boost in power, which, because if it drops at power, mathematically speaking, yes, if my floor is 382, that means the drops I will get will be at 382, which means I could upgrade my gloves, or also my, because like right here's the Mint Retrograde right here is my highest power level kinetic slot weapon. But I also have it where it's like my Yeartide Apex is my highest energy, but I don't have anything else comparable to that, along with things like in here. And it's like, well, you could just blue up by using your ward pass, right? Like I have a pair of gloves right here. They're 383. They would bring up my power level by that much. But the problem is I don't want to use it now because I haven't even really played this week to go in to then also set up, to get the thing. Like I could pick this up right now for a power weapon, but it's only 383, which isn't enough to move up my power level in total to a point where I break my new threshold. And that's the problem. And it's like, well, with Zavala, he has those armory stuff, he has a weapon, which is random for the whole week. So it's like you're guaranteed to have whatever slot that weapon is as a powerful drop once a week for that weapon. And then you also have it where he has 2 pieces of armor you can get. So there's a way to kind of like negate some of the RNG, but the problem is, and I'll show you, part of the problem with that is the fact that going in to grab that gear, right? If I grab that gear now, like I can't even remember what he has today, but if he has an energy weapon, I could grab that energy weapon right now. It would be considered a high powerful drop, which means it would be plus 3 to what my floor is. It's like to my floor or above my floor. Where is my power level bar? So like on my power level bar, it shows that I'm at the floor of here, and I'll just bring this over real quick so you all can see. So this is my power level bar for my character, right? So for my warlock and my account in total, this is like these are the things that are keeping my power level low. My highest level gear is the 386, which is this Mint Retrograde, right? So if my understanding's correct, the drop should either be plus 3 to what my floor is, which would be this, or plus 3 to my Mint Retrograde, which means if I'm to go to Zavala and see the weapon should be considered a powerful gear drop to what my floor is, right? Like the average. That's how it should work, right? And kind of does, because as you can see, it's a 387. It is technically higher than my Mint retrograde, but as you saw on that tab, power level bar, that is only one level up from here. And that's because my floor is being dragged down by this. So then naturally you go, well, if you pick that up, that will bring you up, right? Yes, it would bring me up +1 to my current highest, +4 to my actual account power, but it doesn't solve the fact that my floor is still low, because I don't think the average is enough to get higher. So like if we break out a calculator and we do averages, so we got what, 386, I can just do 386 times plus, there we go, 386 plus 381 plus 382 plus 382 plus 381 plus 384 plus 385, no, plus 385. That's, and then you average that. So if I have 8, divide that by 8. There you go. And according to this, I am at 383.25. So that's, as everybody that plays Destiny knows, that's your average. That's how you find your average, right? So the problem is, if I bring up all those numbers, and like, let's say I do a 387 in there, it will only bring up my total power by 1, right? So if we go times 8, and we add in, let's say we do the weapon, which is 6, so we add a 6 in there, right? Plus 6. And then we divide that by 8. Divide that by 8. 384. It brings me up exactly 1 level. So then if we go up by 1 level on the next drop, so we go +1. So if the next drop I get from anything else would be a +1, no, I would need to go from, let's say I choose gloves, because that's one of my next lowest ones, right? I do another glove. So if I go up by 1 on my gloves, that means they should be 388. So I need to add 7. Then, divide that by 8. I'm still at 384. I didn't move. And that's 2 of my 3 drops I get from Zavala, 2 level. So while that is a big boost in the sense of like bringing up your lowest thing, the problem is because of how the averages work. If I use all 3 of those things to catch me up, I'm still behind because my floor still has such a huge difference. So in order to fix that, I basically need to go in, and there's a point to this all, I need to go in to here, and get these things up to either what my floor is, which is 383, or as you can see, my next lowest piece of armor is my chest plate at 384. I either need to get these all up to 384 or higher in order to make the spikes from Zavala worth it. Because then they'll go based off of what my floor is to +4, right? So if my whole entire floor is 386, when I pick up something from him, it would be 390. Which then means under half of my gear is at 390, which means, and then because of that, some of them may bring up the floor, probably won't, because of how little of a spike that is. It helps negate some of that RNG. But the problem is that this is good in that sense, but if you go back to the portal, and I'm just going to go to orbit, so I'm not just renting in the tower and having NPC dialogue. But because of that, and as you can see, none of these drops are power weapons. He doesn't have a power weapon for me to use to get back up either. Like, his drops in energy. So 3 of the drops that are focused today from the portal are all energy weapons. And this is just today. This is a Wednesday, the 2nd day after the weekly reset. And all I have for anything is a third of what I can get, essentially. Well, not a third, almost half, because it's 3 out of 7. 3 out of the 7 drops I have right now are energy weapons, right? There's not enough there's not enough variety in the drops to help me catch up today like I could on a day where they do 2 kinetic weapons or they do more armor. And that's a system that feels terrible because it's like you're supposed to be able to play this game however you want to level up, and there should be restrictions based off of how fast you can do things to level up. But as any Destiny gamer knows, everything that's fun to do in this game is tied to where this arbitrary number puts you at. It's been that way for a long time, and when it finally started feeling right is when we didn't have to worry about getting this number up like hundreds of levels. Like during, I think it was like after Lightfall when we went to the system where it was we go to the pinnacle grind, which is 10 levels after the expansion level, and then it would incrementally increase accordingly. So like you would go from 200 to pinnacle capping 210, and then you would go from the next season, you would go from 210 to like the next expansion cycle. You'd go from like, you'd have your expansion drop, and then you'd go 10 up every season. So then you would go 200 to 10 to 220 to 230 to 240 to do, and then like you would then go from 240 to, at the expansion, 310, let's say, right? So you'd gain another 70 levels, and the legendary campaign would put you just beyond the powerful cap, so you wouldn't get blues to drop anymore, which all it is infusion fodder, blues are. Because you can't... Look, dog. The weapons that drop at blue are essentially just Destiny 2 Vanilla Year 1 weapons, and it's like, okay, do a build with an under pressure auto rifle. Whereas you can have a legendary weapon that has like Ahab Char, and it has Burning Ambition here, which helps with solar builds. A blue weapon doesn't have any of those kind of perks. It may have like Rampage, it may have like Kill Clip, it may have, but they don't have elemental. Yeah, they don't, like, and half of these have like full auto trigger, which is useless now because we have the whole setting where you can have, essentially just full auto fire all the time. But yeah, the issue, and tying it back to what I mean by I figured it out, and I texted my friends this earlier today, and I wanted to kind of put these into words that somebody could like go watch this video and then figure out what I mean. Well, yeah, the whole point of being a hobby streamer is that I don't have a way to do notifications yet. I haven't, like, brother, I've been moving. I'm not really playing the game. I'm kind of ranting about the state of Destiny 2 right now and why it bothers me so much. And I figured it out. And you got here, as I was about to say, why I said it feels like Halo Infinite at launch. So, what I mean by that is that there's stuff to do. Like, there's weekly stuff to do, right? There's thing like I can grind my battle pass, I can grind my power level, I can play Iron Banner and go for all these shiny new things, which spoiler alert, half of these things aren't new. These 2 weapons are the exact same rolls that dropped during the Arms Week, but they have it doesn't even, well, the holofoil's bugged, but it has a new holofoil, which the holofoils don't matter in this game because there's no, it's just bragging rights, because they don't do anything to enhance gameplay, and they never would do anything to enhance gameplay, because then the community would be upset, because now the weapon that they've grinded for that used to mean something now doesn't mean anything because it dropped at the wrong tier, right? Like a tier 3 weapon right now in the game is like what a tier or like an adept weapon was back in the day. So if we look at, let me find one here. That's just regular rank angle. Do I have an adept one? Here we go. So like an adept weapon back in the day would have the 2 perk columns, two perks here, and then the origin trait, and then when you enhance it, they would become, enhanced perks. So you had a weapon that was set up where you could go in and grind for it for a specific set of perks to make the gun feel better, right? Like that was a thing you could do. Where is my Lotus Eater Adept? I have one here. This one. So this is like this is an example of it. Like at Zaval, I didn't have it at the level where I'd have the 2 perks, but yeah, I don't think any of those do. I have one of these that does, I think. Yeah, like this adept from the. This is also an adept hollow foil. Yeah, it's a hollow foil. So this is an adept hollow foil. Is just a fancier version of this grenade launcher, but it doesn't change anything in the gameplay because it was still the same as a regular version of it. Like it wasn't dropping already enhanced. It wasn't dropping already as full. I mean, this one might have dropped fully masterwork, but the point is that this is an example of like a perfectly curated, crafted weapon that I took the time to get the patterns for to grind. This is what a tier 2 is right now, which makes sense because a tier 2 back in the day was essentially just the weapon with the roll that you specifically wanted because you leveled up the gun to the level where you could get those 2 perks on it and put it onto the gun. It was a way to negate some of the woes of build crafting because you had a way around it. Whereas now, you're completely reliant on RNG for the roll that you want, and then also on top of that, the tier of the drop, right? Like this is an insane roll that I got. I'm probably never going to use this shotgun in a DPS rotation because of the other issue that's going on with Destiny 2 right now, is the fact that the upgrade cost for upgrading anything costs these stupid little enhancement cores right here, which the system is better than what the upgrade modules were, in my opinion, because the upgrade modules were just like a way to kind of like make you have to do something extra. Like, oh, I can only carry 25 of these, so let me go to the tower to upgrade my gear and then go back and do whatever till I'm either out of upgrade modules or out of gear to use. And so like the system is nice because then you didn't have to rely on burning through these alone, even though essentially all that they were just buckets of like 3 of these and like 10k glimmer. So because of that, this new system feels lesser because the amount of gear it takes to bring up anything to level. Like let me just show you, right? Like this is my Seeker Sight exotic helmet. In order for me to upgrade it, like I have to, dump material into level up its stats, which is fine. That's how the game always is. But to infuse it, I need to spend 159 unstable cores to do so. It's not that much, it's a jump in 2 levels, makes sense, shouldn't be 100, shouldn't be more than that, right? Well, let's say I go to upgrade a different helmet that is not that close in power level to something, right? I go over to, let's just do we'll do my Dawn course right here. It's Armor 2.0 version of the exotic. So like it has the old stat system still on it. So this is level 16. I did put a little bit into this because during the Edge of Fate, I was trying to find a build that I wanted to use. I wanted to try a Dawn Chorus build with Song of Flame for the campaign because they were kind of pushing us out of Prismatic. So I was like, yeah, what, I'll do this. Wasn't worth it. And so it's like, okay, well, if I go to up, and let's say this gets buffed or turns into a featured gear for the last part of this expansion, I go to infuse it. Look at how much that costs now. It is now nearly 6k to bring this up that much level. And in order to get that much of those unstable cores, you essentially need to delete like 1 at level gear gives you like maybe 500. So in order to get to that, I need to dismantle nearly, what is that, like 5 times 12 is 60. So if I have 500, I need to drop freaking 12 at level gear to get that unstable core back in order to do so. But hey, don't worry. It costs one enhancement core. So now, to upgrade anything, Glimmer is next to useless. So, like, this, I've not gone below 450 this entire expansion because of that. Like, there's been no reason for me to use Glimmer anywhere in the game. Which, I guess, is kind of always the issue that Bungie doesn't want us to not have material resources to spend. They just don't know how to utilize them in a way where it feels engaging to the community. Because when we do have something that feels engaging to the community, they just get rid of it because it's bloated. But then we have bloated things reintroduced to the game. Like, these delete too, by the way. So, like, when the Renegades rolls around, anything I got here is just gone. So this material right here, these unstable cores, don't even matter. So it doesn't matter that I have 30,000 of them, because in order for me to get a build up to level, like a new build, I'm going to be spending 6K to bring them up to just 380. You know, like just below my current power level floor. And so in order to do that, I needed, I took, 12 pieces of at drops to do that? I would need to sacrifice 72, because there's 8 things you need to upgrade, right? I would need to drop 72 at power level stuff just to bring that up to that level. And that's not even at the powerful cap right now. And it's like, why? I have to think, if I want to do a new build that doesn't use any of this gear, I need to drop that much unstable power to do so. And so everything that's in the game right now is just a grind for the arbitrary sake of making this number bigger, or this number bigger on the armor, or these numbers bigger on the stats, or this weapon having more enhanced traits on it versus just being able to take the specific weapon roll I want and building it out of just a time and material investment on the weapon to get it there. Like, this is my battle order, right? I played so much Days of Eternity just to get this thing to drop. I did not spend any, I don't think I did, deep sight harmonizers on this weapon to get it to this. I played it so much that I spent maybe 2 hours one day just going back and forth from my Postmaster to Xur to the Dares of Eternity to back to Postmaster and Xur to finally get enough red borders to get 3 of them done. And then I heard about the cheat you could do with a character that hasn't run Dares of Eternity. So I sacrificed a character to do that so that I could get it just to focus on battler drops, because that was the first drop they always got, just to eliminate down the weapon pool so that I could get the red borders for this gun. And because of that, too, I was also one of the first people to be able to craft the heavy void sword. What is it called? The other half. Like, that was, like, I got that weapon craftable before many other people even got close to it. And the thing is that the time investment to get my perfect stat stick for the builds I was using for content were involved. Don't even get me started on champions, dog. To get to the point where my stat sticks for my builds were where I needed them to be. And now the problem is, there's too much of a material cost that the material doesn't even matter for anymore. That if I want to do a different build, like, look at all these loadouts. All these loadouts I could use, right? Like, my dim has probably, I'd say like maybe 30 different loadout builds that I had set up at one point, where all I needed was just an armor set. And then all I would have to do is find an armor set with a stat roll combination I liked for just like your generic play. So like your 100 resilience, your 100 grenade, your 100 super, whatever else. And then just find an exotic that fit the bill for what that build needed. And then that was it. I had everything so perfect. And it was nice because for my time investment, for how often we'd get exotic endramps to drop and how I could focus them at Raoul to get the things I needed, it felt great. Bungie, however, did not like it that it felt like whenever they would introduce new loot, nobody would want to use the new loot because you had your stat sticks already, right? The part of Destiny that makes Destiny what Destiny is, at the end of the day, is it's both a looter shooter and an MMO. but because it can't commit to one or the other, it is a looter shooter light and an MMO light. And so when you have something that's light, it means it's like drinking a LaCroix, where it's like it's flavored water essentially, like right? Like you have the flavored water, like you get like a LaCroix watermelon, right? Well, it's gonna kind of taste like watermelon, but if you really wanted a watermelon to drink, you would get like a Snapple watermelon iced tea or like a Arizona watermelon drink. But this, it's just like I'm not even drinking LaCroix with how this system's set up. I'm just watching somebody drink a LaCroix and tell me that the time investment that I have in this game doesn't matter because they don't want to launch a new game while trying to also launch Marathon while not losing the player base. And why, and bringing this all back to that specific point, the reason why right now I am saying that Destiny 2 Edge of Fate is like Halo Infinite at launch is because Halo Infinite was hoping that the gameplay loop of just playing the game would be enough to hold people over till 343 Industries and Microsoft got on their feet to get the rest of the game done. And even then, it still took them nearly 2 years to get to the point where we had consistent seasonal drops with content that felt more than just a shop update. You know what Destiny Edge of Fate feels like right now? Like, realistically speaking, it feels like it's just a glorified excuse to keep coming to this stupid Eververse shop, seeing all this ridiculously overpriced gear. And I'm not innocent in buying stuff. Like, I'll be brutally honest. I've spent money on this game in the form of silver. I've done it. We've all done it. But, like, to have this thing refreshed with so much garbage every time, like, look at some of this gear. It's like, how come this can't be like a 1 in 100 drop chance for doing mythic content on Kepler? Like, how come these robes can't be a 1 in 100 chance of doing doing a Grandmaster Flawless? Like, how come these? And this is for the new exotic that even came out this season. The Inoya, I think that's how you say it. I don't even have them on me. Like the Inoya gloves, like they dropped this year, this expansion, and they didn't even have an ornament for them, right? Like this is just what they looked like at launch, and they're freaking cool. But this didn't come until Ash and Iron, and so it's like they've drip fed content like weekly for this to then only just basically be like, yeah, we can't do anything more. And that's what it feels like. And it's like the drops, the reason why everybody was doing Soul Caldera, going to the Caldera mines, is because this thing, and I'll run one to kind of give you an idea. I could get this done in like 5 minutes if I just focus on the objective, not killing anything, only focusing on the final boss, and then leaving. And if it took me 5 minutes to do that, whereas a strike, like a strike takes me 10 minutes to do, like none of these won't take 10 minutes, but like this strike would take me 10 minutes to do. I originally would only get one drop. So an activity that takes 10 minutes guaranteeing me one drop versus an activity that guarantees me a drop every 5 minutes, it just makes sense to run something that's going to give me more drops per minute played than something that doesn't. And so they fixed that at least, but it still took all this time to get to this point. Like we're in the second part of this expansion. Like the second part as in like this is the major update to Edge of Fate, Ash and Iron. And all we got right now, it feels like, is a modern day overthrow that's not going to stick around, like the Reclaim. This isn't going to stick around. These are, and don't even get me started about the recycled content right now. And it's not like I'm sitting here playing the game daily. like legitimately playing, I'm treating this now like it's Balatro, and I'm having more fun with Balatro because at least when I lose, I know the reason why I lost. But this, it's like I can run something with the things on that I need in order to get a power. Like right here, this will drop something at 385. This is just above my floor. It's a plus, essentially a +2 drop. But if I go in here and change the modifiers up, so I do like Touche, which is I detest Touche so much because it restricts my loadout even more. And loadouts already cost so much to upgrade in order to change anything. Like you just saw, it costs me 12. Like it costs so much money for me to upgrade a new build in this game. That much material to bring it up to level, and I'm not even at the powerful cap. So if this build, my Starfire Protocol build, sucks for this, like, and I'm at Grandmaster, I'm at a, Silver A. I mean, maybe I can bring it up to, like, let's see how high I can get a Grandmaster up to, right? Like, I'm not gonna do this because I'm not wasting my time with being negative. Like right here, this is as high as I can go because now I'm at -100. So I won't be able to do damage anymore after that. So this is as high as I can go modifier-wise with my score. So even at that, I'm still only getting... Like, this isn't even, like, a Zavala powerful drop. This is just to bring my floor up to the next power. This is like I guess this is what they say is +3. So this is a +3, whereas Zavala's gear is a +4 to what my power floor is. And this one drop, if we go back to the calculator and punch this number in, is still not enough to bring me up to the next, like, power band, to where my next drop is even higher. So I'm just going to run this real quick. It is a Caldera Solo Mine, Caldera on Kepler, Grandmaster. I'm running Starfire Protocol Warlock with just a very strong solo build. And this isn't like Pinnacle Starfire Protocol. This is just my favorite build to use with it. And just Radiance for Panics. So I'm going to run this. And I'll do two. I'll do one run where I play it normally, trying to get the objective done, try to get all the kills done, get the secondary objective done. And then I'm going to do that run first. So I'm going to go in at 2 Shade so that I have to use new gear and my loadout's locked. I can't change anything here. And then I'll do a run that is the most time optimal version of it. And you'll see that my drop will be just 1 power difference in how much work I have to put in to get just 1 power in this activity. So, like, my objectives are there and there. So I'll go that way.
But anything else?
And so, like, the secondary objective I have right now is get, 50 weapon takedowns. So we're just going to speed run this real quick. We're not going to focus on kills. We're just going to go in here, do the objective, and dip to go kill the boss. Alright, so it's the fallen one. So we'll go up over here. We'll just kill what we need to kill so that we can get this done. So we'll do this. Sabotage Depot. So that my guy can go blow up that for me. That's one done. So there you go. That objective's done. I'm just gonna bum rush this other one. And I'm at, like, what, maybe a minute so far? I didn't really check the time I started at. I kind of just went for it. I'm gonna grab this heavy ammo because I'll need it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go. little guy blows it up, I'm on to the next one. Alright, I got some champions in here. We're not even going to kill him, just zapping him so I can get through there. Again, just basically trying to get this done quickly as I can. So he'll detonate that. He does his thing. And I'll get into my orb. I've spent like maybe 2 minutes there doing that. I haven't killed any champions. I barely got 12 weapon kills. And so all I'm doing now is just running to the next area. That's also something that still hasn't worked. So I got 16 weapon kills so far. So I'm going to get out of here, and I'm just going to sprint, go into my little Mattermorph ball, which runs slower than a sparrow, by the way. And I'm just going to bulk it to the final boss area. All I'm going to do is I'm going to kill these dudes. Got one dude that way. Just gonna try to get some of this trash off my back. Back to immune. He's immune again. There, done.
From what I understand, the 9 aren't done with
So
us
that
yet.
took me like
But until they
maybe
throw another
4
train at us,
minutes.
there's nothing to do but research.
So as you'll see, I got my drop. It is a plus, so it's plus 4, which is still higher than what I currently have, right? So this brought up my base floor by 3 on that specific armor piece. So now, if we go back and punch in my averages, I mean, shoot, once this boots me out to orbit and Destiny Power Bar updates, you'll be able to see that I've only moved up a fraction of power in that short amount of time. So that took me... Yeah, it took me like just over 4 minutes, and most of that was waiting on the end thing. And so, like, doing the objective didn't matter because that's what got me there. And so that brought me up by that much. And so then if I look at D2 Power Bar, it moved my floor up a little bit. My average is still there, but that means that now my floor for my next drop will be essentially a higher drop than this. If not a higher drop, it'll be the same drop. But then eventually, so in 4 minutes, I went from, essentially I went to have that much of a drop still give me plus 3 power to my lowest slot, which still brought up my average by, what is that? 8. So I'm over halfway now to 84. And if the game rounds up, that means that my next drop is either, if it doesn't round up, it'll still be an 84. And that would be plus 1 to my base power. Or it will be a plus 3 to what my lowest item is still give me +2 at the very least, or no gain otherwise. Now, if I focus on doing the solo, you know, the same Caldera run, same stat, but I'm actually focusing on the secondary objective on top of also doing, like, getting the secondary objective done, taking maybe 2 more minutes worth of my time to do that, you'll notice that I'll gain that much more. And so even in a difference of a minute, the drop power I got is higher than what my original one was because I met the requirements to get there. But the time it took me to do these 2 runs, I still wouldn't have finished.
En route to the nearest objective.
I wouldn't have finished
Very good.
a fire
Expect
team.
heavy resistance, just as you
Like I wanted to finish a fire team op. And it's like one of the things that made Pinnacle Ops so nice for leveling when you were with friends is if you knew how to do those exact missions, you were done in minutes, big dog. You were done in so much less time. So I gotta get precision kills. Where's that other champion at? There he is. Oh, he died. I need to get 20 precision kills. So that one's gonna get destroyed. I'll go ahead and just head over to this next one. So like right there, it has taken me a little bit more time than the last run to get this done. It's also, there's a level of like RNG and like where it's gonna have me go. So like there is some semblance of like everything kind of feeling a little bit different than the last time. Go do your thing, dude. Drunk. So now I gotta go to the next one. And mind you, I'm just focusing on the objectives I need to complete. I'm not going to focus on killing out everything, because that's not stuff that contributes to that all. I know there's 2 champions in here I'm going to kill real quick. There's one. And it is nice so far to see that, like, both the champions have, like, 2 of the champion drops I've had have given me a loot drop of some kind. Like, that one gave me an engram, another one gave me a upgrade core, you know, an enhancement core, which is nice. And that's the thing that kind of feels terrible about a lot of this stuff, too, is, like, there's not enough of those kind of, like, higher upgrade modules dropping in the game in the sense of, like, just for getting kills. Like, yeah, it's nice to get Glimmer, but it's like Glimmer is kind of useless right now anyways to me. So there's, like, no point in me running anything else, like, any reason to do any of this extra stuff like I'm doing right now. Like, those champion kills won't contribute to my final score, even though in the old system they used to, in this system they don't. So I can completely ignore them if I wish, and just focus on the other objectives. But I'm kind of doing this at, like, the way Bungie wanted you to do it, versus what is the fastest way to do it. And as you can see, I've burned more time doing it that way than I would have otherwise, right? Because I went to do the secondary objective while also trying to do the primary objective as well. So I need 4 more precision kills. I got the ammo and the weapons for it. I just need a dome. Okay. I'm terrible at shooting with this gun. Should have been a precision. Should have been a precision. There we go. So I got that done. So now all I need to do is just bum rush to the final boss, get him dead. And then I'm done. So for maybe a couple minutes longer.
Discovered on Kepler lit a fire into the engineers at the foundries. They know that even with paracausal abilities,
You'll see that my
we'll
drops
still
have gone
need
up.
technological advancements to stand up to the
Why am I
Vex.
poisoned?
Watching you work out there today convinced me that you're the best person to test their new generation of material.
So as you can see,
Keep an eye
I
out
got a
for their
drop.
invitation, and we'll make sure you get the newest gear first.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, and I got a drop in a slot where it would only bring up my power +1. So it's not a spike in a slot where I needed it. And you could say, well, if you would have focused on a different thing, you could have got that, right? And you're not wrong. Like, I'll give you that. You're not wrong. It is by, what, 1 point of super difference? No, yeah, I'll upgrade that. It's very petty to just sit there and burn material to upgrade that, but otherwise I'm just not using some of the endgame material anyways. Which is more vindictive of the system than the symptoms. So, now... Then yeah, oh. It's actually not bad. This combo for Drang? It's not bad at all. But anyways, so I got a good god roll Drang. But yeah, so in the extra time it took for me to do that, I didn't even look to see what my time was on it. Anyway, so it was like maybe a couple minutes longer. I got something at power, but it wasn't at a slot where I needed that power spike to be, right? So now if we go back to Zavala in the tower. What do we do here? Oh, hey, yay, loot. Okay, so like my powerful drop here is a 86, which makes sense. That is the average of, like, that's my highest gear drop right now is 86. So now I got boots that are 86. And like, if I put them on, you'll see that I am at, you know, it's actually kind of funny that it's 2 less than these. But that's also a tier 4. That's only a tier 3. So, yeah. But no, like, this is now my highest set gear. If I go to the Zavala, you'll see, and it's kind of a dirty way to do it because, like, I didn't take the time to bring up my entire floor. I just played to get just a drop to show you the difference in doing a quick run that gave me a +3 to my floor, essentially, or like what my average power, like, oh, +1 to my, I think it's, sorry, I keep saying floor. It's a +1 to my gear score, so it's a +1 to my 83, my 383, so it's a +1 to that, which luckily, because it dropped in my gloves, that brought up my lowest, one of my lowest up and out of the way. So now I don't have to worry about, you know, my gloves being low. I just have to now focus on my power, my energy, and my helmet to bring those up. And I could do one of the other activities with that slot in mind. So like I could do one of these real quick till I get a drink to drop. Or I could do this until I get the sniper to drop. But this takes 15, 20 minutes. This can take 10 to 15 minutes, depending on what it is. And the Caldera run, even though it was like I was doing all the objectives, I still had, in the time it would have taken just to do the normal thing without trying to get the gear score or any of the other stuff and just playing it as fast as I can, I still got a better drop in a slot regardless of what it was. So, yeah, like as you can see, this didn't move my floor at all. Like my highest is still 87 because it's a +1 to my highest gear. And so, we punch back those numbers in the calculator, and if you look at the power bar, it's like, yeah, now I just need to get these up to get my floor up. So now I'm at, if I get 2 more, like if I make this a 84, that means my floor would be at 84. And then I would just need to get these things. And then that would make sense to then spike those, because then it'll bring everything up to the next tier. And that's part of the problem with the D2 grind right now, is that in order to get to those arbitrary numbers faster, you need to spam the activities that take the least amount of time.
But we will always
not
resolve them and
adhering to essentially trying to curb your RNG with loot by doing other stuff, trying to go through and making it so that your floor is brought up first, then you get your spikes, and then you fill up to your floor and whatever, like the old system used to be. It is just run this regardless all the time, because if you can get it done in 5 minutes, that's still faster and a quicker way to negate and navigate your power level RNG, because you're constantly getting drops in those 5-minute intervals where you, even if you don't do the objective, you can at least get your +1 to per chance bring up your floor so that you can have a spike because you brought up your floor in the next time you run something and get the bonus objective. And that's kind of the problem, because even though the game has a way to kind of bake out the RNG, because no current activity offers like a power weapon as a drop, there's no reason. Because, like, alright, Iron Banner? You want to know what Iron Banner's dropping right now? Look, it doesn't have any power weapon associated with it, because its drops are going to be the Finite Impactor, which is an energy weapon, the Phenotrua Farah, however you say that, Phenotua Hawktua on that spread shot hand cannon, and the Ribbon Tail, which this is a primary weapon slot, this is an energy weapon slot, this is an energy weapon slot. There is no heavy weapon dropping today at all in anything. A heavy weapon drop today is pure RNG. So if you needed a heavy weapon to get your floor up, you're screwed, because you do not have one dropping. And if you look at my reward pass, these are still all 83s. So that would only bring it to my floor, not an up from my floor. Like what just doing a basic Caldera run with no objective is. And that's the problem. And part of that is because they're hoping that you would just play the game for the sake of playing the game without actually taking the time or the effort to go and, just do one thing because it's the fastest way to do it. They're wanting you to do all the things. But even then, on a given day, like today, I don't have all the things I need to still bring up what my lowest power level will be. Because if I go through and do all these things to get drops in all the slots that you saw on my power bar, the drops I need, if I bring these up to my current power level, my power weapon will still be the one that's in last place, because there's no power weapon dropping today. And I'm at the mercy of whatever RNG gods are there that dictate if I'm going to get a power weapon drop tonight. So, that is it. That is the stream. We are going to go over to my end screen now. Thank you for tuning into this hour rant about my issues with Destiny 2 right now. I know it was kind of schizo. I wasn't really following a script. But the long and short of it is, Destiny 2 Edge of Fate is having the same problems that Halo Infinite had at its launch. The content was not completed at launch. The weekly cadence of this content was not to a level where there was enough reason to come back and play, because the only thing that mattered was essentially the power level grind, and then to get enough stuff to get the drops that you had up to the level. So the sake of playing for any sort of progression as far as like unlocking specific traits on weapons you wanted to get, unlocking certain weapons for crafting, that's all RNG based now. And then on top of that, it's even more RNG based because if you get your god roll, but it's not the right tier, the weapon's useless. I know they're fixing that. They mentioned that they were going to make it so that you can upgrade weapon tiers. But if you bring in a tier 1 weapon up to a tier 5 and it doesn't give you the additional perks that a tier 5 has, it is still objectively inferior even if it's a god roll, because there's the chances of having a double god roll on one weapon, which would essentially help with your space management issues. And now that we have to have more than one armor set for loadout, for builds, it's just an arbitrary armor grind, arbitrary level grind, arbitrary number go up grind. And it's not to the point where it's like, oh, you just need a friend in order to do it, because the game won't let me just play with my friends if they're already at those levels, because the game still wants me to get to those levels. So it's still needing and wanting us to play this game to get to the power levels for the sake of just being able to do content that essentially doesn't even matter anymore, because they're not farmable. They don't give you enough upgrade stuff at the end of it to bring up an armor set or bring up a piece of armor to the current power level. They don't all drop at power level for what you get. Like, it's not like every drop in a Grandmaster, Conquest, or whatever they're calling them now is at the same level as what it used to be back in the day. Because the thing that was nice is, like, once you hit the powerful cap in a given season or a given episode, once you hit that power cap, all your drops are at that level. And so far, because of how long it's taking people to get to that power cap, there's just no reason to do it. Like, they're bleeding players, and I know that they're addressing, like, loot drops, but if it's still statistically and mathematically faster for a player that's trying to get to the power level cap to just spam one activity, no matter if they get the objective done or not, if it takes them 100 of those in the time it takes for them to get that 100 done, they would have only done 50 of the other thing and still not be at the level where they needed to be at. And I know it's coming off like I'm crashing out and I'm ranting, but this has just been something that's been on my mind. I definitely do enjoy Destiny, and I want to see it do well. And I normally don't call out or, like, verbally speak in a public setting my current grievances with the game, and I doubt that at my size and at my level of anything, I'm going to get noticed. But I feel like a lot of this stuff is important to cover because it's needed feedback. Like, and I understand that they wanted to make Edge of Fate feel like a new game. It definitely feels like a new game, but it feels like a new game named Halo Infinite at its launch. And because Halo Infinite did not have enough new stuff or reasons to play to keep the players engaged, it died. Not die in the sense of, like, it's now off the market and completely unplayable. In fact, I'd even say if you're looking for a live service game right now to play that respects your time and gives you a reason to play, on God, no cap, Halo Infinite's the game to play right now. There is so much you can do in that game that it respects your time, it rewards you for playing, and now it's not doing the whole, like, season passes do end up, if you don't buy them, you can't go back and buy the season pass. But they don't get rid of the gear out of the game. The gear now goes to the cash shop in those passes. Which, it's like, you could technically say that you're paying for that gear anyways if you buy the operation. Regardless, if you're wanting a live service game that respects your time and your play and your dollar amount that you put into it, I'm telling you right now, Destiny 2 is not that. It's not that I regret Actually, you know what? I actually do kind of regret buying Edge of Fate. I kind of do at this point, because, like, there's been so much of it that just has not been at the level that we were sold it was going to be. None of this stuff feels like it's like a Rise of Iron size expansion. In fact, the stuff that we got back from Rise of Iron even doesn't have half of the stuff that the Rise of Iron expansion had. Like Plaguelands, for example. Plaguelands had it where you could do nearly the whole Cosmodrome, with the exception of going towards the war mine facilities, the Seraphim station, and all that. It was the loading area when you first got into the game. You know, it was that Dock 13, I think is what it's called. You know, the cosmonaut space station. You know, the Devil's Lair. We don't have all that content here. And the Plaguelands have lost all its sauce that made it stick out like it did. And I know it's like story reasons. We killed Siva. We destroyed the replication chamber. So it makes sense that there's no gear there. Like, it makes sense that Siva's gone. But then it's like, why are we even here? To get Warmind tech? Brother, we've done so many different things revolving around Warmind tech in this game. And the last time we did stuff revolving around Warmind tech, we had the Warmind kill himself to save us. Like, yeah, that's how I'm feeling right now, dude. And it's like, there's no... Like, what's the point? And I know it's probably one of those things where it's like, oh, just wait and see. But it's like, you need to start telling us stuff now. Because, one, Maya is one of the worst villains we've had in Destiny. Her whole objective is to get her wife back and go back to a time when things were great. Which, inherently, if you write that down on paper, kind of sounds cool. But the execution of it is terrible. And you've given us a villain in the form of Maya Sundaresh that... You've given us, like, the one thing that also bothers me too, and I know people are like, oh, well, the Vex didn't have a face of a villain. You don't need Cthulhu's face on an Eldritch horror to understand that it is something that needs to just not exist because it is evil, because it's trying to destroy everything and make just this one thing. And it's like, they gave that objective to a character that had better motive than to just destroy everything that currently is because she wants it one way. And that's all the difference is between her and the Vex, is that she just wants her wife back that loved her. Whereas the wife that loved her has long since been dead because of her own actions in the past trying to do something that her wife had asked her not to do. And it's like, yeah, there's a love story and there's grief in that. And it's like, you know, I mean, it's just... You basically gave the Vex a motive that is alien to what made the Vex such a horrific, made them such a horrific thing to begin with anyways. Yeah, that's it. I need to get off. I got to work tomorrow morning. I know it's like, I said I was going to be done 10 minutes ago, and here I am still ranting about the game. But the reason why I rant, and the reason why I talk like this, is because I'm incredibly passionate for this game. And I want to see it succeed, because I know this game can do well. And the thing that bothers me about it, in the sense where it's like, of course, you know, just do these things, is that it's like, they're not taking the time to do any of these things, because they feel like they need to keep just pushing stuff out for the player base to do. Like, I haven't even touched on the fact that they brought an Eververse armor set into the Iron Banner to be the new armor. And I can't even feel like that's a W, because it still feels like the bare minimum. But yeah, the Halo Infinite is what Destiny 2 Edge of Fate was at its launch. You know, Halo Infinite, at least now, is a live service game worthy of your time, especially if you like PvP gameplay, and especially if you like your time and your effort respected for what you do. Anyways, yeah, so that's it. Sorry for the long rant at the end of my stream. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you stopping by. As I said last stream, I'm going to be streaming more regularly coming up here next week. My work-life balance schedule between moving and all that stuff should be done this weekend. So I'm hopeful that maybe someday we can do the first official start of the scheduled streams that I have planned for you all. You all have a great night. Rest well, sleep well. Make sure you drink some water, hydrate, relax. And yeah, I will see you all next time.